We on? Okay. Hi everyone, thank you so much for attending the school board candidate forum tonight, hosted by the Tiger Community Organization. My name is Sarah Herman. I will be moderating. Janessa Rush has so kindly agreed to help time, and I've got three candidates with me tonight. Michaela Blazinski, Caitlin Cunningham, and our incumbent, Nick Halstead. How we're gonna do this is I'm gonna give 3 minutes to each candidate to introduce themselves. And then I've got a series of questions that I'll alternate with the candidates, and they'll have 90 seconds to answer them. When they have 20 seconds left, my kind friend Janessa will raise her hand and let them know that their time is almost up. We still have a couple people coming in, and we're going to get started here in just a minute. All right, I'm going to go in order from left to right. I would like to introduce Ms. Michaela Blazinski. Michaela, please tell us about yourself, and your 3 minutes have started now.
Hi, my name is Michaela Blazinski. I am 28 years old, originally from Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Moved to Black River in 2019 with my husband. We have 3 beautiful children. 2 of our children, our oldest boys, are special needs. So getting on the board it's very important to me. We've had some pretty significant difficulties just this past year with our middle child, and there's a lot of change that needs to happen within our special education system alone. At the very least, parents need to be listened to a lot more. Their opinions matter a lot more than what has been led on in the past year. So my biggest thing is we need change in the special education system. Our kids need to have their voices heard. Our parents need to have their voices heard and not feel ignored.
Thank you, Michaela. All right. Let me set the timer. Caitlin, please go ahead.
Hi, I'm Caitlin Cunningham. I am a physician at Crum Clinic. I've been in Black River Falls for about 3.5 years now. I moved here originally from Ashland, Wisconsin, but I've kind of lived all over the place. I have a diverse background in education. I am a physician, so I have been educated for most of my life. I also taught biology and chemistry at a school for a year, as well as tutoring all throughout college, including tutoring the football team at my university, which was quite the experience. I'm very passionate about education. I believe very strongly that all children deserve to have a very strong education regardless of their background, what their abilities are. I think that every single child in this district deserves to have an exceptional educational experience. I believe that education is one of the ways to make a community stronger, and this is a fantastic community, but every community can improve in areas, and I see great areas to make this community even better than it already is.
Thank you, Caitlin. All right, we're going to reset our timer. Nick, go ahead whenever you're ready.
Good evening. My name is Nick Halstead. Reside in the Hickston area. Been on the board for coming up on 3 years now. I will be one of the senior board members, I guess, if I get reelected. We do have kind of a baby board. I graduated from Black River Falls in '98 to tech school for welding, and I have a shop up next to now, so I'm an employer within this district. So I want to see the tech ed department do well and turn out kids that are employable and all around just turn out good students when they graduate so they can be successful in their life. I have 3 sons. district. One of them also was a special ed kid that did go from 4K or 3K or whatever it was through when he was like 17 in the district, and actually had a pretty decent experience with the special education department. I guess I've been told by a lot of people that I'm like the common sense board member, like the last 3 years. I get along with people, I can agree to disagree, and still try to move forward with people and execute like things in the district that are good. And I realize I don't always get my way, you know, and that's just part of it. But at the end of the day, we can agree to disagree. Hope to continue to serve this community the next 3 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. All right. We put out an email address, ask@brf.org. We advertise it on several platforms for people to email their questions in. I just printed them off right before the forum started, so I'm gonna get started. This question was actually for Nick. Just for Nick. And it is, what have some of your accomplishments been during your first term? And you have 90 seconds.
Sure. Well, when I first started out, I was pretty active on the TCO. I actually the one that came up with the name of the TCO. There's been a lot of things that I wanted to do that I just didn't happen because only one vote on the board. But we did get some in the middle school, the math department working on different levels of learners, so hopefully they can transition into 8th grade and be able to do geometry and gain a class in high school basically. Just recently here, a few weeks ago, I toured the tech department in Osseo with high school principals and tech ed teachers, and we're looking at, sounds like next year they're going to have some kids going there for welding classes, and then they would graduate high school with a tech ed degree, and possibly looking to network with some other districts. Some other districts in the area to, you know, some of the tech ed areas that are stronger in one area and we're stronger in another area, to kind of send kids to different schools to network with our neighboring districts. I was on the committee for the scoreboard, the football field.
Appreciate it. All right, and then this next question, I'm going to start with Michaela. Who does the school board report to? Who is your boss?
I feel the school board reports to each other. We report to the parents of our district. In my opinion, they are our boss. They come to us with their problems and we work together as a team to fix them.
Thank you. Caitlin, who does the school board report to? Who is your boss?
I think it's a complicated question, which it's got a complicated answer, which there are official bosses and things like that, but I agree with Michaela that I think it is more complicated than simply the official answer, but taking into account what parents, what teachers, what administration, what the community, and even what the kids think about things, taking into account all of that to be able to serve the community better. And the different strengths that all of those groups have helps to make for a much better system. There's things that we as a board might overlook because our experience is limited and our perspective is limited. Where parents may have a different perspective on things, where teachers may have a different perspective on things. And so being able to work together to solve problems, I think that ultimately that's who we report to, are the people that we're serving, and the people that have a vested interest in the community as well.
Thank you. Nick, who does the school board report to? Who is the boss?
Sure. Yeah, the school board reports to the community members, the taxpayers, the parents, the students, the teachers, local businesses, anybody in the community basically that has a vested interest in the district and wants to improve it.
Thank you. All right, for the next question, we're gonna start with Caitlin. Caitlin, do you believe the school board should help go through curriculum?
I think these are really complicated questions. I think that a school board has an obligation to be involved in kind of every aspect of the school, including curriculum, whether it is the school board's job to personally go through every aspect of a curriculum or to rely on teachers and parents to help inform parts of that, I think is more the discussion. I think that ultimately there is no one group of people that should be responsible for making decisions like that about curriculum, where there needs to be input from all people involved. And if that is something that the school board can help facilitate, I think that that is very important to do.
Thank you. Nick, do you believe the school board should help go through curriculum?
Yes, the school board approves curriculum. I mean, you have the main reason for the school board is to implement rules and policies. So the policies would be, of the curriculum, would be, obviously it's up to the instructional coaches and Nicole and the superintendent in a way to present the curriculum to us, but we can argue of like, we want this, like I said, would be dividing up the math class and stuff. That was kind of an idea, and that's part of curriculum. So we approve it and we can implement ideas, but we also have, somewhat trained professionals that have master's degrees and stuff too. That's their job to implement or to select a curriculum. But I guess it's also basically it's up to the board, the final rule. So, yeah.
For Kayla, do you believe the board should help go through curriculum?
I believe in part they should help go through the curriculum. Obviously, they help finalize everything. I think a big part of it needs to be the board reaching out to the teachers and the students and the parents to get their feedback and their opinions on how they feel the students are doing and what changes might need to be made. Not that those changes will necessarily be made, but their input is very important. It is their children, their students that are learning it. We have polls sitting around a table, but we're not in the thick of it going through the curriculum. We've all done it, not to speak for them, but a few years ago. But in part, yes, I think the board should be part of going through the curriculum.
Okay. How many days in advance would you like to have the board packet before board meeting?
Usually we get it like 3-4 days before, which most of the time that's ample to review what's happening. Certain months there's more stuff to review, like when you implement new policies and stuff, that would take a little longer, but I don't really have a problem with what we have going on right now.
Michaela? How many days in advance would you like to have the board packet before board meeting?
I personally would like to have it a week in advance at least. I know I have 3 kids, work, we are very busy all the time. I'd like to be able to chunk it out and sit down and review a little here and a little there and go back if I feel I need to review more to be better prepared for the meeting.
Thank you. Caitlin, how many days in advance would you like to have the board packet before board meeting?
I think I agree with Michaela, about a week would be, I think, ample. I mean, I think the right answer is ample time to review it, but life happens. I also have a fairly busy, unpredictable schedule sometimes with doing OB as part of my practice, and so sometimes I'm unable to predict if 2 or 3 days before I would have ample time, but a week ahead would be ample time, I think, to review anything as well as get any clarifying information or documentation that's needed.
Thank you. All right, for this next question, it's a statement and 2 questions, and I'm going to read it twice, okay? Academically, we have had a high school in the fail category according to the state assessment. Why do you think the high school has failed over the last 2 years, and what changes would you implement? Again, academically, we have had a high school in the fail category according to the state assessment. Why do you think the high school has failed over the last 2 years, and what changes would you implement? And I'm going to start with Nick this time.
Okay, well, I believe that what we could do to improve the high school, I believe it is heading in the right direction. I think 2 years ago, our principal had like no accountability for anybody and no expectations, and I feel that our current principal team is doing a better job. But I guess like higher expectations, D1, and more accountability. The attendance is a huge issue. It's challenging. I know they did implement the, I can't remember exactly what it's called. There's a thing this year they implemented which it's helping with attendance. If you have it, you're failing or you can't leave for lunch. Can't remember exactly what the name of it is. And I guess like just higher expectations, more accountability, and have the kids learn what they enjoy a little bit too. I guess one of the things that I see for high school is to kind of get your feet wet in a wide variety of fields and of different jobs, and know what you want to do after high school, so you can come out and pick a direction.
All right, thank you, Nick. I made a mistake. I should have started with Michaela on that last question.
That's not what I was thinking.
I know, I'm sorry, I wish you would have corrected me, so I'll start with the next question. So the next question, do you want me to read it again? I'm gonna read the same one. Do you want me to read it again?
Sure.
Okay. Academically, we have had a high school in the fail category according to the state assessment. Why do you think the high school has failed over the last 2 years, and what changes would you implement?
I think there's too many contributing factors as to why our high school is failing, has failed for the past 2 years. It's really hard to put a finger on just one. I will echo what Nick said about our attendance. Attendance has been poor. Expectations. If there's no expectations, the kids are going to do what they want when they want. And unfortunately, that is what is going out into society, and at high school is the last step to finalizing and building a person to walk into our society to be successful. I think one of the ways that it could be fixed would be us as school board members to go visit local schools that are actually doing well, and sitting down with their admin and determining how they made it to where they are, and any things that we can learn based off of what they are doing to help us succeed.
Thank you. All right. Caitlin, do you want to read the question again? Okay.
I will echo what Michaela said about, I think it being too multifactorial to pin down one thing. It's very easy to want a really easy explanation for a complex issue, but any issue like this is multifactorial. And so the way to fix that is by identifying the different factors that contribute to it and by fixing those, which sounds very simple, but it does take sort of an in-depth analysis to figure out what are the issues that do need fixing, where are we failing these kids, because it's not them truly that's failing, we are somehow failing them, and where do we start with that? And a lot of the time that answer is we start way back by fixing our primary education, our kindergarten, our Head Start, things like that, of implementing very strong academics at a young age and working up. Now that solves the problem for 10 to 15 years down the line for kids who are in kindergarten now who will be in high school. We also have to fix what's happening with high school as well, which means I love what Michaela said about looking at other school districts that are excelling and figuring out what we are doing that they, or what they are doing that we are not, as well as looking at those different factors that are contributing today, including academics, expectations, truancy, etc., and finding strategic ways to hit each one of those issues as well.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to read this next question as a question, or it's a statement and a question. Our district has an attendance, grades, and behavior. Our district has grades, attendance, and behavioral issues. Are you open to ask other districts that have overcome some or all of these what they did? Our district has attendance, grades, and behavioral issues. Are you open to ask other districts that have overcome some or all of these what they did? And I'm going to start with Michaela.
Oh, absolutely. Like in the last question, I think going out to other districts to determine what they have done, what works for them, what is not working for them, would be very beneficial for us. Now going to the first district and they say, yep, this worked great, we come back to ours, it's maybe not working out for us. But that's not where we stop. We then continue to go further and further. And if we have to go to 15 different districts to get ourselves a better game plan, then so be it.
Caitlin, do you want me to?
I agree. I think that, as stated in the previous question, very open to the idea of asking for help. I think that there are things that we likely do better than any other school district in some areas, and there are areas where we don't excel as much as other ones. So especially finding districts that have had similar issues that we have and learning how they fixed them. There's no need to reinvent the wheel when it comes to these things. If other school districts are doing things that work well, we can use our energy and our imagination and our thinking power to other places and use their experience that they have had to help in areas where they've had success.
Thank you. Nick, do you want me to read the question again?
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm definitely open to networking and talking to other districts in our area and potentially have the same issues. And well, it is an issue of attendance, like statewide, nationwide. We're not the only district in the world that has attendance issues. It's across the board. But yeah, definitely talking to other districts. And I think a lot of it, you know, I don't know if there's a possibility of implementing like a rule, like, you know, if you miss so many days in high school, you don't graduate or something like that, you know, like just consequences, you know. So if they wanna not, you know, learn and have all D's and F's and not every year they don't graduate, you know. But yeah, definitely open a network with other districts.
All right, I've come to the end of the questions that were sent to ask@drf.org. I am now going to open the questions to those that are in attendance. I did see that our TCO president, Joanna White Eagle, is here, and I would like to give her the opportunity to ask a question if she has any at all. I'll come back around to you. Iftikhar, I would like to give you the opportunity to ask a question of the school board candidate members, and this time we are going to start with Caitlin is going to be, who will be answering the questions first. So, go through.
So you want me to ask Caitlin?
Pardon?
I can ask Nick Helsted, my friend. Can I ask him?
Do you have a specific question for Nick?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Nick Helsted, my last newsletter says we had 771 students from 2nd grade to 8th grade, not high school. 2nd to 8th, 771 students. Out of them, 597 students are behind 1, 2, 3, 4 grade levels. You are still sitting board member. What we should do
What should we do?
for 597 students?
Mhm.
Nick, are you comfortable answering that question, or would you like to visit with him after the forum?
I'm comfortable.
Okay.
What should we do? Well, I guess a lot of the issues I think we have in this community is parent involvement and families that really don't care about school. If their child goes, it's more like a place for them to go for daycare than it is to learn. So that's the major problem we have. Well, how to fix that? That's challenging, very challenging. You know, that's hard to do, but I guess, what do? I guess we just keep trying. I think we have a lot of good teachers. We have a lot of good kids. One thing I worry about is holding back our high-end kids. They're in the same classroom with kids that are way behind, and they're bored. They're not engaged because they already know this stuff. And, we're holding them back, which that's another one of my concerns. There's not a black and white answer, like this is what we gotta do to fix this problem. But we just gotta keep doing the best we can and expect, like I said, higher expectations and more accountability, I think, is really what you need. And if these kids are not doing well, make it painful for the parents a little bit. Because your kid's not at school, kid's misbehaving, make your parents deal with it.
Thank you, Nick. I'm going to give the other candidates an opportunity to answer the same question, okay?
Okay. Can I repeat my question for you? Okay. You folks are super brand new, so you folks don't know my last newsletter. I'm the only board member who release my newsletter every 5, 6, 7 months. So my last newsletter, it says from 2nd grade to 8th grade, not high school at all. 2nd grade to 8th grade. We had 771 students. Out of 771, 597 to be exact, are behind 1, 2, 3, 4 grade level. What as a future board member, what would you do to bring them on their at least grade level?
Kaylin, I'm going to ask you.
Yeah, it is for Dr. Kenton.
It's a pretty large percentage of children behind in math. It seems that it's a huge, that's over 50%. I can't do the math in my head, but it's probably like 60-something percent, 70-something percent. So it's a pretty large number, that's the majority. And so that speaks to something more systemic than something individual for the children. And so I think that we'd have to take a really kind of hard look at either the curriculum, where kids are falling behind specifically, if it's certain groups of kids, certain classrooms. I'm not sure. I think you'd have to really look at the data to figure out exactly where that problem is. But even trying to get students at the same grade level together, whether they're in the same grade or not, but having people at the same level, learning the same stuff and trying to get everybody up together, I think would be a potential solution among probably 1,000. But I see it more as a systemic issue. If it's that number of children, the more than half, it's a systemic problem.
All right, thank you.
Could I ask the same question from Michaela?
Do you want me to repeat it?
I got it.
I can repeat it for
No,
you.
I'm good, I got it.
She's good.
That number is absolutely appalling. These children are our future. These children, they don't deserve to be 2, 3, 4 grade levels behind. I have a second grader that unfortunately, when he was removed from the school district, was at a kindergarten level. There is no foolproof answer of this is what we have to do to fix these children, to fix our system so these children can be successful. I think IEPs need to be gone through more thoroughly so children are getting the extra services that they need if they need them. I think the curriculum needs to be gone through and maybe a look into the classrooms and maybe separating classrooms up for a portion of the day for those that, you know, are excelling more than those that are falling behind. I know personally my son, he struggled immensely in class with those that were ahead of him because he flat out didn't know what was going on and he was embarrassed. And that's not fair to those that are excelling or those that are behind.
Thank you, Michaela. All right. Dr. Sousa, do you have any questions you'd like to ask?
Sure, I'll just ask one. The question being, outside of your home lives, what are some of the things that you do either through work or through volunteerism to stay in touch with the community, the teachers, the students, and to support them?
I'm going to start with Michaela this time, if that's okay? Okay, go ahead.
I unfortunately, but fortunately work in a different county. I work for the Monroe County District Attorney's Office in Victim Witness, so I work with victims that have been victimized by those within the community. I personally go to the kids' family nights. I know one of our favorite ones when the boys were at Forest Street was Uncle Pancake. That is one of the best ones in my opinion. But I am constantly out in the community, whether I am going to small businesses and supporting them, or just out and about talking with the individuals in our community and talking about the problems that I have and I know that they're having.
Thank you, Michaela. Kayla, would you like to repeat the question? Okay.
Okay. I have I think maybe a unique answer to that, just being a physician. So I serve a pretty large portion of the community in my practice, which a ton of them are kids that attend the school. And I get to witness firsthand a lot of the emotional and social things that affect the kids in this area. I am very in tune in that aspect, and even with just the parents of the kids in this district that are able to open up to me about the struggles that they have with their kids or with the school or bullying or kind of whatever that is. I am newer to the area, so I'm still getting integrated into the community, but I love to go to Dr. Seuss's game night on Wednesday nights at Lunda Center. It's a very fun time. I do spend some time at the Lunda Center. I do my share of supporting local businesses with shopping, and I just try to get out into the community. I spend a lot of time outside in the community on the Foundation Trail, doing things outdoors, and run into people out there quite a bit.
Nick?
Yep. Yeah, I spend quite a bit of time in the community when I'm not working, which is probably more than most. I the school board keeps me kind of busy. I run around with the kids at different sports and activities, and give them rides here and there. And I know a lot of people in the community live here my whole life, so a lot of people know me, know who I am, and what I'm about. So.
Thanks.
I do have a question.
Oh, Joanne has a question. We're gonna
Yes.
start with
Joanne.
Oh, okay.
Caitlin this time.
Okay. So what roles, if any, should districts assume for dealing with such societal problems as poverty, hunger, emotional illness, and or drug abuse? Because we're working with students within a school district that sometimes it's not their fault why they're missing school or why they're absent. Just kind of like, how do you feel about that?
Another very, very easy question to answer. Just kidding, very complicated. I see that the school board has a huge role in that. As far as the specifics, this is my first experience running for school board. So as far as sort of those intimate details of the day-to-day where that plays in, I have yet to learn. But I do believe that those are the social, psychological aspects of society deeply affect children and deeply affect their academics. And so trying to give kids equity, so giving kids the ability to compete on equal footing, I think is exceptionally important. And as far as how to implement that, yet to learn. But I feel very strongly about the fact that all kids deserve equity.
Thank you. Nick, do you want her to repeat the question?
Please.
Sorry. What roles, if any, should districts assume for dealing with such societal problems as poverty, hunger, emotional illness, or drug abuse?
Sure. Well, I guess I think like the big picture would be for the teachers in the district to mentor these kids and to encourage and enlighten them to that even if you're having these problems today, in the future you can be successful. You can, get through poverty. You can, figure out how to, not be hungry. Just, the drug thing. I mean, that's a big thing too. I feel that the district does some teaching with drugs and not to do it, when they're in elementary school and stuff. And just trying to mentor kids to be able to deal with their emotions and to structure themselves to be set up after they graduate to be successful. Just because your family or whatever is at that point doesn't mean you're stuck there forever.
Thanks, sir. Michaela, do you want her to repeat the question?
I think I'm good.
Okay.
I think the district is not necessarily the middleman, but I definitely think the district can help with these types of situations in the aspect of providing resources to the community. They can go above and beyond, and we can look up the resources. We can help provide the schools with the resources. I think some trainings within the schools regarding these situations and how to handle their children with not necessarily kid gloves, but so that they know that they do matter, that they are not, it's not their fault, and giving them the self-esteem in a way to want to be successful and to want to be at school and learn.
Thank you, Michaela. Aaron, do you want to ask a question at all?
Sure.
Okay, and then we're going to start with Nick this time.
There's research and studies that show that technology increases learning in a lot of districts, and districts that have access to technology have done better according to statistics. How do you feel that technology should be implemented any ways different than it is now in our districts, or what opportunities might you see with using technology?
Sure. Yeah, I feel technology is very important. I mean, it's very important now, and who knows what is going to be available, say 25 years from now, when the kids that are in school are in their job roles. And I see every day like technology is so important, just in my business. So it's like it's everywhere, and it's just very powerful, especially if you're good at it. So, thank you.
Thanks, Nancy. Do you want me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
So,
Can you summarize the question again, please, Aaron?
what role do you feel that technology plays in our district, and what do you see could be improved with what we offer our students?
I think technology plays a big role within our district, within the curriculum, how the children learn. Every child learns differently. I think it might not be beneficial for some children, but other children might excel with it. Technology is constantly changing and evolving, so keeping up with the new technology that is coming out will definitely help, so we can better assist the children. I personally am not a big fan of all the computer work. I have always been the pen and paper type of parent. I think that a lot of kids can learn differently than on a computer. That is my opinion. But technology has a big part in our schools and in society in general.
Thank you, Michaela. Okay.
I see huge areas where technology can be used. I think even looking outside of the classroom and into even the administrative end of it, using things like AI optimization for efficiency and scheduling, things like that, that take a lot of the sort of having to think about things that a computer can do significantly better than we can. Even when looking at some of the things that are out there for kids to use as study aids, I really wish I could have gone to medical school now, where there is AI to help with things like that, like study aids and helping it to learn in different ways. You're right, kids learn in all sorts of different ways, and even the way that kids learn now versus the way we learned back not very long ago is completely different, where kids absorb information differently than even we did. And so looking at ways to help use technology to help kids learn, I think is a missed opportunity if we don't utilize it to its maximum.
Thank you. Would you like to ask a question, Janessa? All right, Dr. Carr, would you like to ask?
Janessa, you don't have a question?
She does not.
Okay. As you folks, I have one question for all of you folks. So let's start with, who you want me to start with?
Well, if we're going in order, if I have the order correctly, then we'll start with Nick, because I started with Caitlin last time, did I?
No, she was saying last. Started with Nick.
I started with Michaela.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we'll start with you. We work together. I was a teacher, she was a homeschool coordinator, she's a Ho-Chunk. We have a 25% Ho-Chunk population in this school district, and most of them are left behind in education. Do you folks think it is okay in the entire school district we have a one colored man, person of a minority work, Eli Young Thunder right there. I saw his name on next to his class. It is okay to hire Ho-Chunk folks as a custodians, as a cook staff, as a front desk managers, as a principal, as a vice principal, as a teacher, as a superintendent. It is okay to encourage the people of minorities, the people of First Nation to work with us.
Are you asking if it's okay.
What's the question?
Yeah, it is okay to encourage the people of minorities to work with us in the school district.
Oh, absolutely. I know this is such a broadly said word or statement or whatever, but there is no color. We are all human. We all breathe the same air. We all bleed red. That your color does not make you any less of a person. You may have struggled more in school. Doesn't make you any less of a person. Minorities and everybody else deserves the same opportunities.
I agree. I think that it would be foolish to not encourage everyone to reach for the highest of achievements. I think that it would be foolish to say that, again, that everybody is, everyone is different, and there is different culture even within the United States, right? People who grow up, like I grew up in Ashland, which has a very different culture than even down here in the same state. And groups within our area have different culture, and that should be celebrated, not ignored, not feared. It also should be something that we keep in mind when talking about the different things that affect everybody, including minorities, is that there are aspects that we need to appreciate that are maybe different than the way we view things, but that is what makes it beautiful, and that's what makes it worthwhile.
Thanks.
Yeah. I think if 10 Eli Young Thunders showed up tomorrow, handed in an application, we should hire all of them. He's a great guy, energetic, coaches cross country, he's knowledgeable, very good teacher. One of the things that people don't realize though is if people don't apply, it's very hard to hire them. And I don't know that many Native people have applied to work in the school district. There's probably a few, but there's not a ton. I do feel that like people like Eli and other ones, it's a great for the Native American students, because it's like a mentor for them. He sees like, okay, we have this guy, he's doing good. I need to be like him when I grow up. That's all I got.
Thanks, Nick.
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. An individual's, sorry.
That's great.
Okay. An individual school board member has no authority. Only the board as a whole can make decisions for the district. What skills or traits will allow you to contribute to effective operations of the board as a whole?
I think I have quite a few things that make me even uniquely suited to do that. I do not have kids. I realize it's not that I don't like my kids, I don't have any. But I am exceptional at strategic planning. I am good at systemic thinking, so I can look at a big problem and find not just the most obvious answer, but more of that root cause. I have a unique way of viewing the world, so I've been told, where I'm able to approach a problem more objectively rather than looking at it emotionally, where I can still like something even if I see flaws in it. And so I am able to look beyond the emotion of it to more of the data, the outcomes, and be able to see that in a broader sense. Like I said, I'm good at strategic planning, so even talking about things like how do we bring up 1st through 8th graders to have a higher math score, that is something I excel at.
I have a common sense approach to most all the things that the board does. I'm open to new things, but one of the things that I do really well on the board is I get along with everybody. I can work with them all. They all respect me and will listen to what I have to say. I might not agree with what I have to say, and I might not agree with what they have to say, but we'll be courteous to each other and listen and respectful. And I make decisions like all day, every day, so I'm a pretty good decision maker.
Thank you. Kayla?
Working in victim witness you never know what situation is going to get thrown at you. I often answer the phones and I've been screamed at. I've been told I don't know how to do my job, I'm a horrible person. I end that conversation, pick up the phone again, and then I am the most amazing person and so unbelievably helpful. I am able to change hats very easily and treat everybody, no matter how they treat you, with kindness. With having the 3 children, I live my life in chaos, and even the perfect groups, the perfect, school board, there is some sort of chaos at some point. There is some sort of unorganization that may need a little bit of help becoming more organized, in which unfortunately I have learned very well how to organize with managing my 2 older children's daily appointments with their special needs.
Thank you. Thanks. All right, we have 10 minutes left until 7 o'clock when the forum's going to end. I'm going to take one more question from the audience. Did you have a question, Dr. Sousa? Do you have another question, Aaron?
No.
Dr. Carr, do you want to ask another question?
No.
Okay. Giovanna, do you want to ask another question?
Sure.
Okay. I got your timer.
Okay.
Get you back.
What are your best hopes for the future of this school district, and how would your aspirations help our students?
Nick, I'm going to start with you.
Best hopes. I guess the best hopes for the school district is we continue to keep improving every year and have better kids going out the door when they graduate, that know what they want to do when they grow up and have a direction. If they want to go to college, they want to go to tech school, they want military, they want to go to work. And they, I guess, like with attendance, if we have get our attendance better, that, at least if they'll get a job, they'll show up and, keep their job and be contributing members to the society of this Black River Falls community.
Thanks, Nick. Do you want to read the question again?
Sure.
Okay.
What are your best hopes for the future of this school district, and how would your aspirations help our students?
One of my biggest hopes is that we don't continue to go backwards academically like we have for the past, if I remember correctly, 10 plus years. It's very unfortunate, and we just continue to go back further and further. I would absolutely love to move forward and advance in our academics so our kids don't feel like they are not successful. I think one big thing is not constantly pushing college. College, especially a 4-year, can be very daunting. It was pushed on me, and when I originally started, it was not for me. I took probably a 5 or so year break, and I graduated in May of 24 with an associate's degree in applied science. I think we need to bring trades into the school more, so there is a more diverse profile of what is out there to come.
Thank you, Michaela. And Caitlin.
I would like to see, my hope for the future of the students of this district is everyone having a opportunity to have an excellent education. I'd also like to see more of the trades. I promise I'm not stealing your thing. I had thought about this, I agree, as somebody who has done the higher education, it isn't for everybody, and we push that, and as a millennial, I think I look at a lot of people my age who had college pushed on them as the only way to ever get ahead in life, and that is just not true at all. My brother is in the trades, and he may do better than me in life. He is doing phenomenal, and my brother has dyslexia, and he suffered, and for him, a 4-year college at that time was not an alternative. My brother's in the trades, and he is happy. He is happy, and he is fulfilled. And thinking of ways to get the trades more into schools, looking at key stakeholders in the community, looking for places where there are job needs, and then coming in and having kids who are interested in that train in those specific areas, looking at internships within the community. There are so many different ways to do that, and I think having better job placement, better graduation rates, and having everybody have an excellent opportunity for education.
Thank you. All right, everybody. I would like to offer everybody, oh, yeah, Nick, what, did he? Who's first? Yeah.
I'm all about the trades too.
I'm trying to make sure that we track this up. I would like to offer everybody 90 seconds to just talk about why you would be the best possible candidate for the Black River Falls School Board, okay? I'm gonna start with Michaela. Go.
I think I would be the best candidate. Well, I don't think I would be the best. I think I would be a good candidate because I do have the life experience of a parent that has struggled with their children in the district, that has taken my struggles and my frustrations to the school board, unfortunately, at times felt ignored and unanswered. I think there needs to be change within the school board itself, so parents feel more heard. I can only imagine teachers also have that same struggle. I want individuals to be able to come forward and say, this is my problem. How can you help me? What can the community, what can the school board do to make this problem maybe not go away, but less in its severity? I think working with the curriculum to get the children back up to, I don't want to say par because, well, this is not golf, but back up to a standard where we know our children are not failing and our children don't feel like failures is a necessity.
Thank you, Michaela.
Thank you.
Caitlin?
I think I'd make a good school board member because I am, again, I have a unique perspective. I've lived a lot of life. I've lived in different countries. I've lived in different states. I have done a lot of different things, which does give me a unique perspective. I also have a unique way of thinking about the world, and I approach things analytically, but with a lot of compassion and empathy. And I believe that all people have value and all people have dignity, or at least deserve dignity. And that shouldn't be unique, but it is. I believe that all people deserve an equal chance at life, and I am incredibly passionate about making that happen. I do lack experience when it comes to school board. Like I said, this is my first experience doing this, but what I make up for, or what I lack in experience, I make up for in enthusiasm. I have a lot of energy. I have a lot of ideas. I'm a very creative person who has very creative ways of problem solving. That has been, unfortunately, most of my examples are under HIPAA. I am not allowed to say those things, but just my job as a doctor, I have to approach things analytically with empathy and compassion. And so I have that experience to drive me forward.
Thank you.
All right, why would I be a good board member? Well, I have been on the board for 3 years, which doesn't sound like much, but if I do win, I'm gonna be like the one that's been on there the longest. We have, which would be me with 3 years experience. We have 3 people with less than a year's experience and a couple with 2 years experience. I have learned a lot in the last 3 years on how the school district operates and just the basic functioning of the board. And I bring forth a common sense approach to how to run things and how to do things. And I can get along with everybody on the board and respect everybody on the board. And I feel they also respect me. And respect is a lot of the important things on a board is to be respectful of the people that you're on the board with, so they can listen to you and think about your ideas and actually potentially pass them.
Thanks, Zach. All right, thank you, everybody. So the spring election is on Tuesday, April 1st. We have 2 seats open and 3 candidates. If you have any questions or would like to follow up with any of the candidates, please reach out at tco@brf.org. Again, if you have any questions or you would like to follow up with any of the candidates, please reach out at tco@brf.org and we will get a hold of them. I would like to talk about the TCO for a couple minutes. The Tiger Community Organization is a partnership between the parents and general community in Black River Falls to support our school. The TCO is the next chapter of family and community involvement supporting the school district of Black River Falls. We've had a strong history of parent-teacher organizations and now find ourselves with a wider range of community members that are interested in getting involved in our work. Our mission is to create and sustain an effort to support Tiger students, staff, and families through collaborative conversation, volunteerism, and school and teacher support, as well as fundraising. The goal of the TCO are to promote volunteerism in our schools, showing support for our educators and our schools, assisting to coordinate fundraising events, collaborative conversations, continued discussions around how to make our district stronger. Our meetings are held on the 3rd Wednesday of every month at the Senior High School Library. Please follow us on Facebook. Here are some of the examples of the activities that the TCO has participated in the last year. The Giving Tree, thank you gifts to staff in the district. Homecoming spirit sales, sponsoring field trips, volunteering at school events. We recently provided a meal at the Bruce Mound event, and sponsoring the school board candidate forum. I'd like to thank everybody tonight for coming and everybody for watching on the district webpage.